Functionally what I'm doing.
Months until I'm customizing my pussy lips. I'm very excited.
For fucking the giggles.
Yo, you ain't getting any candy for it, bitch.
I have 1 round left. Just enough for myself.
Welcome to the Camel Cast.
Wow. Wow, it's a
I got water. It's good. Oh god.
Another week that we're still alive.
Oh god.
I have coffee.
Freezing water on my crotch. Not good.
Wow. That
Old
went
penis.
from enjoyment to a mistake really quickly.
Yeah, it's cold.
It might not be a mistake.
That's true. I don't know what you're into.
Ice play.
Speaking of ice play and what you're into, let's go into weeks because we're starting a little late, and
A little.
this way we could get things over with. Who wants to go first?
Yo, I'll go first. So my week
BBC.
basically was I worked 2 doubles this week, and I played a little bit of Dungeons 3. Being very close to being
Nice.
it was a good game. I got really close to the end, and then everything just hit, and I stopped playing it. So I picked it back up and started playing it a bit more. I was like, I don't remember why I like this game. Close to the end. I think I'm on the last mission in their big story campaign. And then, literally yesterday, after I got back from one of my doubles, the new D&D book right there in my Amazon box. I've been doing nothing but reading it. I am so happy.
Nice. We actually have a special segment for that, if you want to hold on.
I will. That was me.
Nice.
Nice.
Mine's similarly fast, so I'll knock it out of the park. I mean, not much to say. I have also been working, not quite many doubles or anything, but I mean, work is work. It's nothing really much to say. And the usual of my free time is spent either sleeping or watching YouTube or researching.
Prepping for the Civil War.
Shut up. Yeah, so I just.
We
I
don't
just,
know. We don't.
No, he's prepping.
I'm not prepping.
Trust me, he's
No,
prepping.
he already told me. In the time it took you to go knock on that door, he already told me.
Well, just to
And it's,
inform Robbie, I'm
oh,
looking
no.
into expanding my craziness from just firearms into also essentially LARPing a soldierman.
Yeah, that's pretty much what that is, isn't it?
It's
Armor
basically
plating
Yeah.
and gas masks.
Yeah, well, I mean, gas masks are cool.
I'm waiting for the day you like hit me up and be like, hey, look at my new place, and it's just an underground bunker.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day that happens so we just don't hear from him
No,
anymore.
shush. Okay.
Complete
See,
drop off the face of
Anthony,
fucking
I
earth.
support
He's in a
you in
hole.
all of this because when shit hits the fan, I got someone to go to.
Let's all take a step back and rewind the clock where I was. One of my dream acquisitions has always been an apocalypse bunker. That's not a new thing.
Exactly.
I want to
Just
emulate
like Post Malone.
exactly emulate my god and liege Post Malone and get that nice little apocalypse bunker.
My lord and
Did I say
savior.
it was a bad thing? I'm just saying I'm waiting.
Well, okay, there's a difference. There's a stark difference, okay, between apocalypse bunker and body armor.
Look, when
Right.
I was at a young age,
Anyone.
I watched Tremors, and Burt Gummel captured my heart.
Yeah. Oh, I love that basement.
But yeah, it's surprisingly cheap. I recommend it, and it is not because I have any illusions that I will ever lose this. I just find it neat, and
it's a nice conversation piece. You know, people come over for the first time. You have a fucking
yeah, the first time. I
body
whipped this
armor
out.
hanging on-
I whipped
hanging
this
out.
shit out the first day. As a matter of fact, I bring my body armor on
you
my
don't
first
whip-
date.
You don't whip shit out. You have fucking body armor over the fireplace. You know, just like chilling
my
right there.
mantle.
You're like, here it is. If you'd like to see my my slick plate carrier that's hanging out
Stop AP rounds.
above my fireplace.
It's NIJ rated level 4. What that means? Let me whip out this graph here. All right. But yeah, that's it. I'm slowly going crazy. Continue next.
Mine's quick. I did nothing. Actually, that's not true. I worked a lot, but I continued plating. Oh wow.
Plating.
Oh, I've been infecting
Anthony's
him.
armor.
It's beginning.
Going back. I continued playing this crappy Warhammer card game, and it's still shit, but I'm getting more cards, so it's becoming more fun.
Did you drop any money on it yet?
Nope,
Good.
haven't.
Will you drop money on it? At some point?
Honestly, I feel like I'm
Uh-oh.
getting things without dropping money, so probably not.
Good.
I don't have all the things, and I get clowned by people who obviously spend money, but I got some cool things. So, cool things come to you. You just gotta wait.
Just pray to RNGesus.
I just their timers for their fucking like packs are like fucking terrible. Like I just had to wait 24 hours to open a pack. Now, granted, it was like the max level pack. It was okay.
They time you on when you can.
Yeah, basically, is you win the
Open pack.
battle, you get like you have like 4 slots, and they like a pack goes in that slot, and then it takes time to open. Yeah, it's a gacha game thing because you could speed it up by like using the paid for resource.
Okay.
Yeah, it's abusive,
Yeah,
but
it's kind of gross, but
every game does that now. Well, every gacha game.
I think they vary in their scum mechanics. You know, they don't all have weird timers like that. They just fuck you in other ways. You know?
Yeah,
Like, timer on when I could fucking attempt to roll for shit on those trash banners. They just let me do it whenever I wanted. The flip side was I was very limited on how many times I could get shit for free in the video game.
yeah. Besides that, the Craft World Eldari DLC came out for 40k Gladius, so I've been playing that a lot. And again, said this now for probably the 10th fucking time. It is a very brain dead 4X, but the game is fun, and I highly recommend it if you're into the 40k setting. Don't play it if you want like a super intricate 4X.
Holy shit!
But he's here, interrupting me.
Oh,
I heard 4X over the winds of the ether, so I decided to arrive.
through the warp.
well, welcome,
Arrive
Sean.
over
We're
here.
doing
Just
weeks.
talking, yeah, we're talking about our week, and I was talking about I've been playing the Warhammer 40k Gladius 4X.
Okay.
Because the Eldar DLC just came out for that.
Okay.
And I was giving it a recommendation that this is a very cool game. It's a very baby 4X, as in like there's no really intricate mechanics of like resource management besides just build the building, get the resource, keep it positive. Like compared to like an Endless Legend, it's very brain dead, but that's fine because it's 40k and there's only war. So like you literally just got to focus on the military and fight. And there's a charm to that. I very much enjoy what they did with the Eldar in this game. Very mobile, which is how they should be. They play like space elves. They die quick to return fire, but do a lot of damage.
Which is only something, which is a joke I made away from the podcast when you first told me that is that they only work like that in video games. They don't. Games Workshop doesn't like the they die quick part on the tabletop. And Toughness 3 don't fucking solve that. Funny how other people can get that shit right, but Games Workshop can't.
I argue that the infantry always died quick. It was the wave serpents that didn't.
How often did you put them in situations where they could die quick? Because Games Workshop, in their infinite wisdom, was like, let's give them metal boxes that don't die quick.
Welcome to 40K. All we have for infantry models are Terminator equivalents, Marine equivalents, or Guard equivalents. Which one are you?
But there are some missing units from it that are like very sad that we don't have. Like I'm actually kind of shocked that there's no Wraith Guard in the game. So that's a very staple unit. But there's Wraith Blades. And I feel like that was a balanced decision because Fire Dragons are in the game and they kind of fulfill a similar role. There's no Warp Spiders, which is very sad. Because like that could have been a very cool, unique unit. There's actually very little monofilament. Pulling out my 40K nerdness. There's only like a Shadow Weaver for a Vol support battery. That's it. No Dire Avengers, but again, there's Guardians. They literally fulfill the same role. And no Swooping Hawks. So like actually like core staple units. This isn't the first time they haven't added like Slytherin didn't add a unit that was like very strange that they didn't add. Like for some reason like Chaos doesn't have Terminators, but when you go to the DLC there's just a big fat Chaos Terminator on the image.
Oh, nice.
Does the DLC include Chaos Terminators?
No, it doesn't. But like there are things that like are kind of like equivalent. Like I understand maybe for balance reasons, but it's just fucking strange because it's such a core unit. Like there's Obliterators in the fucking DLC.
That's such a strange.
Yeah. But
why would they
things...
put artwork of a unit that they didn't include in the game?
That I can't understand. But
they finished the art asset, but not the models. And they were like,
generate hype by
fuck
putting
it, let's do it.
No Falcon, but again, that's just because there are other things that kind of I understand why some of them didn't make it in. There's just others that I don't. Cool thing though is they put in a Scorpion, which is like a Forge World super heavy, which was kind of cool. It's very good. The Wraith Knight is in it. Obviously, that's a big showpiece model. That's very good. It's hilarious because it's the biggest model in the game, and it could like float.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it jumps. It's got like the jets.
I fail to understand how a football team can make a Wraith Knight fly.
Very difficult.
And then I was telling Brandon a little bit how they play with so like basically is you start most people like every 4X start with like a builder and then they build their city. A few races in this don't do that. Eldar is one of them that don't. They just start with a webway portal. And they already have it like, colonized, quote unquote. And based on the size of the map, scattered throughout the map, there's just other webway portals. And you claim them like via using like influence, and you just have vision of them. And when you claim them, you could just go through them. Like you have an ability that lets you go through the portal. And it's like a global. I claim they across the map, and then you just could go through the portal. So they're really fucking mobile around the entire map. And then you can also like reinforce them, and that's when they become like settlements. It's very cool. It's very neat. Their ability to like reinforce the settlements by instantly teleporting like your entire army is fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's basically my week, and I worked, and I made big money because a lot of overtime, which I'm getting tomorrow, which is why I got work tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll go. I have things to talk about. I had a week.
You did?
I had a week kind of devoid of video games, actually. I didn't really play a lot of games. I only played a little bit of I kind of got back into Monster Hunter a bit over the last week because I wanted to install it on my new PC and test how it ran. And while I was there, I just kind of played it, and I'm sort of back into it a little bit because I stopped playing Iceborne at a time when I kind of didn't want to stop playing it in the first place. So I began back into that. I kind of fixed the RGB situation on my computer now, so it's like hot pink.
Nice.
Already, it's pretty
Nice.
fucking manly. Except for some of the fans, which I think are the addressable header. This isn't exciting to fucking listen to, but I think some of my fans are the addressable header that I can't change for some reason, and I haven't figured that out yet. So there's
What
a
color are
mild
they?
bit of blue. They're blue.
Well,
So
you
most
know,
of it is
I bel-
pink. And some
is
of
there
it's
any
blue.
white in there?
No.
Because if there was white in there, you'd have a trans rights computer.
I was thinking the exact same thing, actually.
Listen, the podcast
what a
said the podcast says trans rights.
I will make something white.
Okay.
I'll make my RAM white, and
Just
then I'll have a trans rights
just come
computer.
on the side of the case.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So, other than that, the two meaningful things I guess I did or watched. I watched Bly Manor, Haunting of Bly Manor within this last
Yes.
week to completion, and fuck, what was the other thing I did? Oh, and I worked. I actually spent the majority of this week on my old PC because I've been working on finishing the track that I had spoken about many weeks past, which I don't feel like moving all my FL Studio shit and my audio files and my plugins and all that shit over to my new computer yet. So I'm just working on it on my old PC, and then I'll worry about moving my shit over later. And I'm very close to finishing that. I'm hoping within the next week or so I'll have that completely done. So the only thing I really have to talk about that I give a shit about talking about is Bly Manor, which it's weird because I already spoke to Anthony a lot about this. So I'm just going to kind of be repeating shit I already said. Plus, it's really difficult to talk about it without spoiling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn, is it good? It's one of those rare shows that comes about for me at the very least from time to time where I watch it and it's like on my mind for quite some time. Like it's just, I'm stuck thinking about it for days after the fact that I've watched the last episode. It's fucking fantastic. In a very like Hill Houseian kind of way. It's like you go into it expecting spooks and you come out just with a very solid story and a really enticing character study and just a really fucking solid drama. And I highly recommend it. I legitimately believe that between Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor that it's some of the best shit on Netflix currently. And it should be viewed because it's fucking fantastic.
Second.
I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about it. There's like a couple low points that like if you really want to overthink it and point out flaws in the writing, there's like a couple things I could point at and be like, oh, that's a little weird. But for the most part, it's a solid story. I don't know. I really liked it. It's the one. I wish I could talk about it more, but I really can't. It's literally impossible to give solid opinions on it without spoiling anything about it. I give it a solid fucking 2 thumbs up. Big fucking recommend. Haunting of Bly Manor. And that's pretty much my week.
Shaun, do you want to tell us what you did last week, even though last week doesn't really have any sort of bearing?
I mean, I played a lot of. I'm trying to finish The Witcher 3. I'm in the Blood and Wine DLC.
Nice.
Very French. It's very French. Still a very titties out kind of game.
Nice.
Very high quality. I've also been playing some. I've also been setting up some, emulators.
Oh, nice. How's that going?
Going pretty well. I've got some. I got Dolphin running with like a USB. With like a USB sensor bar, and it's pretty neat. Having fun with it. Playing The Legend of Zelda, the cartoon one, because I didn't play it as a kid, because when it came out when I was a kid, I was too mature for those kiddie graphics.
So the CDI version you're talking about.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Listen, surprisingly underrated.
I'm sure.
I mean, aside from that, it's just been, trying not to catch COVID.
Fair enough. All right.
It's a hoax, though.
I mean.
Oh yeah.
Catch a hoax.
Catch your hoax. That sounds like a fucking special that should be on Fox News. Tonight on Catch a Hoax.
Catch a hoax? Answer, no. Because it's a hoax.
All right, speaking of hoaxes,
political.
Our first news story is Ubisoft got swatted. Isn't that hysterical? So yeah, basically, I have to read more into this. I'm not sure if the call actually came from inside the office or it was spoofed that it came from inside the office. But there's a little office in Canada that went on lockdown, and Canadian SWAT arrived on their moose to disarm a situation that didn't even exist. And I suspect that it was poorly handled viral marketing for Watch Dogs Legion that they just swept under the rug. That's based on nothing and is a joke. But yeah, that happened. Don't we live in a fun time when game companies, sometimes they get swatted, sometimes they catch fire.
I mean,
someone can buy a copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla that like brick their PS5 or whatever, and then they can just swat the company that makes the game. Yeah.
It's there's listen, swatting has been a thing for years. It's apparently it's just one of the risks associated with being adjacent to the gaming industry.
What a marvelous risk.
And if you dare be public, if you dare be public and work in games in any capacity, a SWAT team could show up at your house. You filthy gamer.
Maybe shoot you to death. I don't know.
100%.
And it's really unfortunate that games tend to have these things called credits that they just say who you are and where you work.
It's basically a swatting hit list right at the end of every game.
And I mean, we are very lucky that gamers are the most level-headed and rational people on the face of the earth. Yeah. And
hey, let's
don't
not
freak out.
Let's not bite the hand that doesn't feed us right now.
Fortunately, these are
the highest probability of people clicking this are fringe gamers.
That's yeah, probably. You're not wrong.
Listen, gamer is the reclaimed slur, man.
It essentially is, isn't
Rise
it?
up. The only kind of people clicking on our, the only kind of people possibly clicking on our thumbnails are the people who would swat someone.
Well, I mean, why do you think I don't? I mean, why do you think I don't appear very often? On that note.
And there he goes.
And there he goes. With the audio that doesn't even pick up on the podcast.
Nope, not at all. I wonder if he'll bounce back for the joke that doesn't work, or if he's really gone.
I hope he doesn't. I hope he's gone for the rest of the podcast. You better commit. You better commit to this joke.
That'd be very strong. We'll make note of it.
I have a question. This is like a complete 180 from the news. So just a small aside before we move on to the next news story that I thought about in between last podcast and this one, because you and me were talking in messages about like Bly Manor and shit like that, and a thought occurred to me where I was like, at some point we discussed doing like a Game of Thrones podcast, which I would like to wait to do until we're doing this like physically again. I think personally, but a thought occurred to me where I was like, when multiple of us watch a thing that we really liked or play a thing that we really liked and we want to give opinions without having to like be concerned about spoilers and shit, should we consider doing like spoiler casts? Like one-off spoiler casts that are just
spoiler casts,
not the main podcast that we just do on a different day when the people involved with it are open to do it?
You can bet your ass we're doing a Cyberpunk spoiler cast.
The thought occurred to me because you and me were talking about Bly Manor and messages and shit, and I was like, it'd be kind of cool to do like a Haunting of Bly Manor, like spoiler cast, where I could just talk about the shit that we're talking about in this message chain, but on recording and with no fear of giving a shit. And then you can title it something really clickbaity, with a nice clickbaity thumbnail.
There will be red circles in the thumbnail, I promise you.
Yes,
maybe
absolutely.
even an arrow or two.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? I'm doing the big brain like meme. I'm like tapping my forehead.
I'm gonna evolve into the galaxy brain right now. You don't even need all of us or even me. If OBS is free, it captures Discord. So if you guys ever come across something that you're having a good discussion about, switch it over to text, record it, send me the audio. I'll make it.
That is true. I bet none of us will do that, but it came to my mind because you were involved and I was talking to you about Bly Manor, and I really like that show. And it's unfortunate because within my week I feel like I can barely talk about it or give opinions on it because it's so easy to spoil saying like literally anything about it. And the thought occurred to me where I was like, why don't we just do like one-off spoiler casts for these things that we give a shit about?
All right,
just an idea,
Yeah, we'll definitely hit it up too. Like
you heard it here first, folks. All three of you that listen to this, maybe at some point there will be spoiler casts. I don't know.
And when the first we put up, there will be our biggest video, and it'll just be full of comments like, "Why are you spoiling all this?
What the fuck?
Yeah, you guys are assholes."
Not clear from the title.
21 subscribers, and on our average, like 5 to 10 viewers.
Yeah, not everyone who even subscribes to us watches our fucking podcast. What's up with that? I noticed that too the other day.
Well, that's just YouTube.
What's going on with
that? Just happens.
Yeah, well, fuck them. Fuck all of them.
Fuck YouTube.
The I hate you at the end of the podcast is real now. You all suck. Listen to the podcast. But please don't leave. We need you.
Please.
Actually, we're barely affected if you're here or gone.
This is true.
I'm just being real.
Anyway, that's the end of my small aside.
Well, now here's a large aside as Robbie goes ham on the new D&D book.
Oh, fucking thank you, mate. This is going to be
welcome.
a long one, boys. Strap yourselves in and strap on.
My strap-on is on.
I don't have... Hold on, let me find my strap-on really quick.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Strap-on.
Well, Brendan gets his strap on, which Anthony You need to go Photoshop one onto his guy right now for the podcast.
All right, I got it. I
Um,
attached it to my forehead though. Directions were unclear.
Yeah, it's just called a strap-on. They don't really tell you where.
Yeah. Directions
but
unclear.
anyway, Tasha's Cauldron of everything. Solid fucking buy. I've read through the whole thing at least once, and I've gone over the classes about a few times. The subclasses, not classes.
All right, good review. Our next news story. No, continue.
I'll just leave the fucking chat.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But love what they did with a lot of the Unearthed Arcana and moving it over to official content. Very happy with some of the picks. My personal favorite was Path of the Beast for the Barbarian, because it's absolutely lovely in my opinion.
What is it? It sounds like it's a barbarian druid thing.
Yes and no. It's more like you're a barbarian, and when you enter your rage, you get you turn very bestial, and you basically get to choose from either getting a natural weapon that's a bite, 2 claws, or a tail.
Huh.
And they all do different things. And it's basically one of the things they put in for like, oh, why are you like this? Is basically, maybe your parents were a lichen, and you have some of that blood left in you,
And it makes you angry.
Yeah, it makes you able to tap into that.
I'm very butthurt. Wow.
They gave the new options for class variants. Some are better than others. They did change a few things, which I was very happy about. Cleric, Twilight Domain, favorite. Love everything Druid got, because it's just a pan away from I turn into big beast, I go roar, and it plays on different play styles. Fighter, a lot of interesting things, more maneuver options for battle masters. Very nice. Monk, got some stuff that I need to show Brendan because it's variant rules. I actually need to send all of you some shit. And
oh, hold on. Let's not go over everything just quickly. So some things I remember from Monk that's pretty cool, or stupid depending how you look at it. They just now have a new. They just have a new rule. So like, you know how like there's monk weapons for like martial arts.
Yeah.
And then like there was a subclass Kensai that was like you could like, you know, take non-monk weapons and use them as your monk weapon. Basically everyone can do that now.
Kensais are still a little better at it, but
I mean, Kensai still has the things that Kensai had, but everyone could just do that now. Like, the new rule is basically just like, you pick a weapon, you focus on it, it is now your monk weapon.
Oh, neat.
It just can't be a heavy weapon. That's it.
or special.
Okay. That's interesting.
So, do you want to be a spear-wielding monk? There you go. You want to be
well, hold on, wait. Something I'm a little unclear on. Do you mean this is something monks just like literally if we were to use these rules, I like in our game I can just do this now?
Yep. It's like it's just part of martial arts or some shit. It's like yeah.
Level 2 monk feature. You train yourself to use a variety of weapons as monk weapons, not just simple melee weapons and short swords. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can touch one weapon, focus your key on it, and then count that weapon as a monk weapon until you use this feature again.
Congratulations, Brandon. You are now the Red Viper.
That's really weird.
Go ahead. Use a spear. You don't need to use a staff anymore.
The weapon must be simple or martial. You must be proficient with it. It must lack the heavy and special property.
Use a rapier. Use a fucking dagger. You literally now have access to making weapons that aren't necessarily good, just good.
Aren't necessarily proficient with every weapon.
Oh my god. Daggers. Flurry of blows. Shank monk.
Yeah, you could. You could literally have shank monk.
They put in a whole bunch of new summoning spells, which I'm interested to play around with. And magical tattoos, which I thought was really cool.
Isn't it? But doesn't it not matter if you're proficient with it? Because it then just becomes a monk weapon, which you
No,
are proficient
it
with.
says one of the criteria is you must be proficient with it.
Well, that's a problem. Interesting,
Not
though.
in particular. Like you could just play. I mean, for your race, probably not. But like if you play like you could play well now because the way races are done, it's fucking stupid. But you could play just an axe wielding dwarf monk because they have the proficiencies for battle axe. You want to use a battle axe monk weapon with a dwarf?
All right,
That could put his stats wherever he wants now.
Hot take. Hot take. Can Wizards of the Coast just make them good at punching stuff? Can we just get that instead of all this bullshit? Like, why can't monks just be like what monks probably should be in comparison to other classes?
Unarmed? Why aren't you playing fighter?
I'm not saying monks don't. I'm not saying monks haven't used weapons in previous editions. I'm just saying like.
Well, monks are better at punching than anyone else. So.
Right, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm saying like, can we
100%.
get them to revolve around that as opposed to giving them these weird mechanics where it's like, hey, in case you're kind of shit at it, especially earlier on in the game, you can just hit people with a spear instead. And it's like, well, why can't you just make it?
I really just make spirit punching.
I honestly see it as there's very little reason early game to not use a weapon when your fists have lesser damage.
Well, yeah, that's the problem with monk. That's why I'm using a fucking stick in our game for the most part. Aside from flurry of blows and shit, is because I should, mathematically speaking, be hitting people with a fucking stick, as opposed to my punches or my what aren't technically punches, but my big dumb summon sword bullshit, because it's not as viable damage wise, and I kind of hate that. But you know, fuck me, I guess. It's just a hot take.
Like I said,
I'm just thinking of a dwarf monk because now I could just put +2 in Dex and +2 in Wisdom, and just a battle axe wielding dwarf monk.
Oh, they didn't change that dumb shit?
Nope.
That was what they were choosing to do.
So mountain dwarves are better at everything they do.
Again, I assume you were reaching that. I assume you were going to get to that point in the book and then we'd talk about it, but I just want to reiterate, I don't think the idea is bad. I think the way they handled it is pretty shit.
One thing I do like the customizing your origin and the changing of skills. That I felt was very nice.
What do you mean the changing of skills? Have you described this before? Because I don't.
Yes, I have, but
I don't know what you're referencing.
Basically, when you get a language or a proficiency in something because of your race, you can swap it out for something else. Like you could swap out if you know Draconic from your race, but you don't want to know Draconic and you want to know fucking Abyssal instead, you can.
Really?
And proficiencies, if you get a skill from your race, you can switch it out for any other skill. You could switch out an armor proficiency for either a simple or martial weapon or tool.
Does that mean if I play a dwarf? No, that wouldn't count, right? Because that's like not a proficiency. It's like a special rule, like, right?
What?
Like, so you know how like elves and dwarves get like weapon proficiencies?
No, you could swap that out for something else.
Do those count as getting a proficiency though from your race?
Yes.
They do? And that's silly then, because then I could just be like, again, I'm a mountain dwarf. I get proficiency in Warhammers, battle axes, and something else. Now I just take whatever 3 I want. It's just, oh my god, mountain dwarf is the OP race.
Can I point out how like kind of nonsensical this is, at least to me? Because it's like, I can see what they're trying to do, right? Like with more customization and shit and being less restricted by race and whatnot. But it's like, why would they go about writing it in this way? Where it's like, oh, look at your race. Does it say you get this weapon proficiency? Cool, you can swap that out for this, this, or that. And it's like, why bother writing it like that? Why not just say, if you pick this race, pick from this list of bullshit You know what I mean? Instead of
Oh,
being
Then
like,
it's not PC, Brandon. It's not. Then you're putting a race has certain like stereotypes attached to it.
no. It doesn't even. No, it's not even that. Because what I'm saying is, you could literally just go instead of being like, here's okay, this race gets this language and this fucking weapon proficiency and whatever. And so instead of that, you can just go, oh well, I don't want to know how to speak Abyssal. I want to know how to speak fucking Sylvan or whatever. Instead of that, just say, oh, this race can choose X number of things. And then there you go.
Why can't they know other X things though, Brandon? Are you saying they can't?
No.
Stop limiting my creativity, Brandon.
You're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the list would be restricted. I'm literally saying it would be like, oh, you can choose this many weapon proficiencies, this many languages, whatever. Like, why make it so that I have to look at my fucking race and see that it says, I know this language? Hey, dickhead, would you like to not know that language and just know something else instead? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Like it wouldn't be like list of these things and not those things. It would just be like, you get 2 proficiencies, pick.
Yes. Instead of making me look at my fucking race and see that I have this thing and they're like, oh, well, you can just swap that language out for any other language. Why even bother doing that? Just go, oh, my race knows one language. Pick it. And I'll be like, okay, instead of listing all language and then telling me I can just
why
swap
does
it out
that
for
race
anything.
only get 1 language and that one gets 2? Are you saying they're smart?
It still works like that. It still works like that.
It's not very woke of you.
It still works like that.
Instead of getting super like, whoa, that's not woke. It's because they're trying to play within the rule set. Sorry,
I think we're mostly joking.
I know.
I don't think we're.
I know, but I'm trying to actually get into a fucking description here. Talk about it.
Are we joking? Because I feel like they're actually trying to do this.
Well, I was joking
it's
about
50-50.
Didn't they come out with that statement that they're like, we do want to be more PC about races? And I thought it was we had a whole conversation about it. It was so fucking stupid.
Yeah, we absolutely did. I don't think that's what I'm complaining about is in reference to though. I don't necessarily think some of these changes, like what Rob just described about, oh, you have a language, you can swap it out for any other language. That has nothing to do with the woke shit. I just think that that's like poor rules writing, because you could just say they know an extra language, pick one, instead of being like, here's one, you can just swap it out for anything else if you want to. It's like, why even bother restricting me to the one in the first place? It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's just kind of clumsy to me.
Because they have to work within the rule set they built already, and because this is an optional rule, and instead of writing out every race over again from the player's handbook, Volos.
But that's not what that would be. You wouldn't be writing every. No, it wouldn't, because what I'm saying is, if you have a race that knows one extra language,
your argument was, well, why do I have to look at my race and think about all these things I have to switch? You still have to look at your race then.
No, my argument was, why does the race have a single language listed? Like, for instance, if there's a race that says this race knows Abyssal, okay, but then after it you put a nice asterisk and you say, but you can swap out Abyssal for literally any other language you want. Why bother writing that? Just say you want to play Tiefling. They know one extra race. Right, but you're doing this.
Abyssal was written beforehand, and this is a new rule set that they're implementing, and it's not even something you have to do. So they want to keep that stuff written down and saying, well, you can do this, and this is how you do the substitutions.
Right, but Rob, what I'm saying isn't insane. I'm just saying you have a race.
But I'm trying to explain, you're like, why? And it's like, that's why. Because they have stuff that was already out, and without having to reprint it all.
All right. Then let me rephrase my argument.
Okay.
The why isn't good enough because it doesn't make any sense. You could just say, I can easily make the argument that you could just have any race and just like white out that fucking language and go, you can just pick a language. Like, there's no reason they couldn't have done that. They could have. It just feels like, yes, or X amount of languages. It just doesn't feel. It feels like cluttered and like nonsensical to me to be like, oh, well, we'll list the language even though you can just swap it out for anything else you want. It's not a big complaint. I'm just saying that they could have done that. That's all I'm saying. Like, why not? Or with anything else, like the weapon proficiencies and shit like that. But anyway, it's not the end of the fucking world, but it's like, why not?
The world will never know.
Yeah. One thing I really did enjoy reading was a lot of the magic items. And some of the new spells, like all the summoning spells. Interesting to play with. They're all trying to use this traditional stat block that and one thing that's very common in this book is based on your proficiency bonus, so you're forever scaling as long as you're leveling up, which I like. Like your summonings, even if you are only have the minimum spell slot for the one summoning, it will still get stronger if your total level is high enough for another proficiency bonus, which I like. I like that certain features are going based off your proficiency bonus, which makes multi-classing better, in my opinion.
Right, yeah, because that is set in stone. It's not tied to a level.
Yeah, it's not tied to your levels in the class, nor is it tied to an ability score. So you're not stuck if you want to grab feats and not have a maxed out score to have the maximum amount of uses. You'll just, as long as you level, you will get the maximum amount of uses you can get for that. Reading supernatural regions and magical phenomenon and natural hazards, just this stuff they're throwing in for people to chew on, is nice. I like reading about the mimic colony. It's hilarious.
Mimic colony.
It is a bunch of mimics that have basically formed together to make one giant sentient mimic.
Oh, Jesus. It's the demi-lich of mimics.
It could be a building. It could be the side of a cliff.
Oh. It's fucking awful.
It is lovely. I love it. And it's constantly reproducing tiny mimics, and it will destroy anyone who tries to destroy its tiny mimics.
Oh, it's motherly.
It's motherly. It is.
Mama mimic.
There's
My
also
mimic cubs.
Sidekicks are honestly something I'm really happy about. They're basically...
Wasn't that that concerns me, because wasn't like leadership the feat that literally destroyed Pathfinder and everyone had to ban it?
I
Was
don't
she?
know Pathfinder.
I don't know what you're
Leadership.
referencing.
It's basically, it was like a way where even with a moderate amount of charisma, you could just get like a free extra PC. And that's strong. That's stronger than anything, it turns out, to have just another character.
Well, see, these ones are actually statted out, and they have classes you could pick from, basically. They can be an expert, a spellcaster, or a warrior, and they level up like you do.
So they're like minions from the Fantasy Flight game 40k games?
They're kind of like minions, yeah.
Basically? Okay.
Basically.
I mean, that's
Like,
an interesting concept.
For example, Goblock could be a sidekick.
Fuck yeah.
That's going to play
Goblock.
very poorly for the podcast.
I mean, they don't gotta know about Goblock.
Goblock is a character in our game. We'll leave it at that.
Goblock's my true homie.
Now we would stat him out, and then there is a list of things. He literally can go from level 1 to 20.
I like that. That's interesting.
And
as I said, it reminds me.
They could be animals. They can be anything. So technically, Health Potion could also be one too.
Fuck both my true homies. It's very reminiscent of like minions from the Fantasy Flight 40k games, which was always a system I liked a lot. So that's cool.
I very much liked it. They give you a bunch of different creatures to throw based on regions, which I kind of like. How interactions with them would work, because it's not always that everything just wants to automatically murder you. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. One thing I didn't get to read through fully, and I want to read in more depth, is the puzzle section, because I am a big fan of puzzles, but in the campaign we've currently been running, I've had no need to use puzzles yet. At least not super complicated ones. I think some of the more the magical like zone effects are hilarious. Like I said, Mimic Colony was one of them. There's something called an Eldritch Storm. And the artwork in this book, very nice. Magic mushrooms just growing out from random spots. It's absolutely chaos, and I love it. And then it goes into, natural things, like natural hazards that may occur in any game that everyone kind of had to think and homebrew up. Now these are like solid things. They're like, well, you can use these.
It's neat. Just more shit.
More shit is always good. Well, always, maybe not, but for the most part, it's very often good.
Yeah. Definitely don't know about always.
I did find, like I said, my favorite thing was the Path of the Beast, and I actually found a bard I would want to play, the College of Creation, and that's mostly because by level 6, I can literally just turn a weapon into my forever object, and it dances around me and strikes based on my commands.
I was
I mean,
I
what?
didn't read the whole book. I stopped like midway through the subclasses just because I stopped. There's some cool stuff. There's some stuff that we kind of glossed over that was like interesting. Like the astral self monk got fixed.
Oh yeah,
which I think is really good. It
it's
no
not
longer
easy,
is like
but it's fun.
yeah, it no longer like the wording on the arms no longer contradicts actual combat, so it's like viable now.
Okay.
Um,
What do you mean when you say that? Do you mean when like? Because I remember when I read it, I think there was something weird that I pointed out where it was worded in such a way that like you couldn't do like flurry of blows or something like
yeah,
that.
'cause, like it was
With-
an attack with the arms, not the attack action
Yeah.
or some shit. They changed that. Now it's just like an attack action
And you use
with
the
the
arms.
arms.
That's cool. Did they change anything else about it to make it more viable?
Yeah.
Super bullshit like thing at the end when you maxed out your capstone isn't the same. You still spend like the 5 key to bring out your entire, spiritual form, astral self, but you don't get like that stupid thing where whenever you murder someone or someone is dead within like I think it was like 30 feet of you, you gain a key point back. So it still keeps a lot of its power, but not the busted, basically.
Yeah, they toned down the capstone, but didn't they change to like level 10 or something?
I think they did too, yeah.
Is it still like? Wasn't that the one where you attacked with wisdom instead of dex?
Yeah, you could still do that.
You choose. It's
Yeah.
a choice. It's
Okay.
so if you are a dex heavy monk, but you want to do an astral self, you can still do it. But
That's
if you want to
interesting.
be a more wisdom heavy start, you can still be viable as an astral self.
I mean, the whole thing I remember when I like read into it a little bit. People were saying that it was always in its previous iteration. It was always more of like a stunning strike kind of subclass, where basically the whole shtick was to just pump wisdom and then spam stunning strike constantly. I don't know if they've changed it in any way to make it not like that. I assume that would still be the play with it if you're just spamming wisdom instead of being dex focused. That's cool though. It's neat to hear that they fucked with that.
One thing Richie was talking about was they basically said "fuck you" to warlocks.
No, not really, but I just thought it was
Why, they
hilarious.
nerfed them or something?
No, I actually didn't even read the Warlock shit yet. I just thought it was funny because like all the stuff I was reading was giving people like further or equivalent dark vision to a Warlock invocation, and I was like, what? Like it was Warlocks always had like the superior dark vision seeing in the game, and then like other subclasses are now handing that shit out like candy. Granted, Warlocks can still see a magic darkness, which is still the appeal of it. But I just thought it was funny because I saw like it was the Twilight Cleric, and it's like just being a Twilight Cleric, you get 300 feet of dark vision. And it's like that's excessive.
Wow,
Yeah, that's a lot.
that is a lot.
Hang on, I'm gonna go cleric right now. It's armor, artificer, barbarian, bard, cleric. Here we go. Twilight's the very end here.
I actually very much like the Twilight Cleric. It's interesting that they don't give you the darkness spell, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's a very cool melee cleric, and yes, it's 300 feet of dark vision, which, as an action, you can share with someone.
Dang.
Yeah, it's actually, and it's free.
Lasts for 1 hour, and you can do this a number of times equal to your wisdom mod.
Dang.
Okay, it's not free, but that's very strong. It's like, hey, human who doesn't have dark vision, do we want to actually not light a torch and be sneaky? Here you go. I tap you on the shoulder.
And equal to your freaking wisdom mod for an hour. It's pretty strong.
The Twilight clerics, very strong. Get some very nice stuff early. Their later stuff's good, but I know other clerics that get better stuff. Their spells are also actually relatively supporty for a frontliner cleric like that because they get martial and heavy armor.
Oh, time for a respec.
You can do it now.
I'm joking.
The
Keeper likes darkness.
Am I?
the what was the something that caught my eye was again like a bard subtype that I liked immensely was
I liked
the College of Eloquence. What was there like just level 2 or 3, whatever it is?
College of Eloquence. Their level 3 is you are a master at saying the right thing at the right time. When you make a charisma persuasion or charisma deception check, you treat every roll of 9 or lower as a 10.
Yeah, that's
Dang.
silly. That's silly. It's so fucking silly. Like, hey, you're bard. You want to be the party face? You automatically, basically, if you pump charisma up at creation, you basically automatically roll a 15, or even a 14, like, which is nuts. That's
Yeah, it's pretty
crazy.
strong.
Yeah, that's literally you take 10 on everything.
And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go over the whole class because I don't have the book 1 and 2. That could get boring. But it's actually decent with the other features, if I remember correctly. So
I think both
Cool.
the bard classes were very nice. Like I said, my favorite was the College of Creation because literally, its Bardic Inspirations has extra effects, which I love. And then at level 6, I literally just make a weapon, a floating weapon that dances around me. And while it dances around me, it gives me bonuses, and I can command it to go strike people.
So something. We're dancing around a lot. We're talking about things in the book, specifically me and Rob, because we skimmed it. Rob read it way more in depth than me. What is your overall opinion?
My overall opinion of this is subclasses are unique in a lot of situations, like the Wild Mage, Wild Magic Barbarian, Eloquence, and Creation for the Bard. As I said, everything about the Druid that plays away from Big Beast, Let's Go, Roar.
But yeah, that's like the subtypes and the archetypes, which, you know, any content that gets fixed or becomes better or more balanced, that's good. What about like the book as a whole? What about like the new character creation rules and you said the items?
Classes give a solid A. Like all the new subclasses, everything solid A plus. The new rules for character creation, which are optional for everyone who freaks out about it, I give a C plus because I see the abuse. I like it, but like Brandon was saying, it was not implemented the best way, but it shows which way they want to go further, and I'm definitely for it. If by, let's say, whenever they release 6th edition, it's more like what Brandon was saying, because you're a dwarf, you get
So you give it a C. I give it a D for dwarf. Just play a mountain dwarf.
Did you engineer this whole conversation just to make that joke?
No, actually.
Just Anthony, just put a dwarf beard on Richie's guide for this.
No, actually didn't. He said like I give it a C, and I'm like, ooh, I got a joke for that.
There you go.
All the new spells, A, magical items, reading through them, first look, B-ish, a lot of cool niche ones, a lot more uncommon magical items, which I'm very happy about, new legendaries.
Well, here's something that I didn't read either. I didn't get to. How does the summon spells work? Are they better than what the Unearthed Arcana was, or are they the same?
They're using more stat blocks, which, if I remember from the old one, they were trying to use by just saying, oh, it's this or it's that. Like, use the stat block of a zombie for the undead one, or a ghoul. For what they're doing now, it's that they all have a base stat block, and based on what choice you pick, because we'll give you options, like for the summon undead, you get a zombie, a ghoul, or a skeleton.
Yeah, but like, it does the scaling feel good on it? Or at least on paper look good, because obviously we haven't played with it.
On paper, it seems like it's very effective because regardless of whether you spend a higher spell slot or not to summon the creature, which does give it bonuses, like the HP and the hit, I believe, your proficiency bonus will give it more AC. Its stats will roughly stay the same, which is eh.
I've always felt, and this is something I actually very much dislike about 5th edition, as opposed to like Pathfinder, is that summoning sucks. So like conjure magic was absolute trash in 5th edition. There was really no summoner builds because they kind of didn't exist, and having these spells in the game like makes me, like, ooh, like maybe I could do a summoner, but I haven't read them yet. So
another good thing, which I'll give, these summonings can't turn on you.
Hey.
Unlike some of the other spells we had in 5e, where it's like I conjure an elemental, but if I drop concentration, it then does whatever the hell it wants, like murder the party. Since they're all conjuration magic, I think the School of Conjuration just got a big buff for wizards.
Yeah, I still don't think Conjuration School's that good, but hey, maybe with these summon spells, maybe it has a application.
And I honestly actually don't, if I remember correctly, the Warlocks don't have access to any of these summoning spells. I think maybe the Shadow Spirit. I'll check.
I wouldn't know. Haven't gotten that far in the book.
But yeah. So basically, undead spirits, which are, you get to choose whether it's a ghoul, a skeleton, or purid. Putrid.
Yeah. So how does this translate into the Ranger?
The new beast companions, which I swear every time there's a book, there's going to be a new beast companion.
I'm looking, just quick update.
Yeah.
Whilst you guys talk about D&D in my ears, the dulcet tones of your voices, I'm walking around my room holding Yamato, feeling very motivated.
Nice.
Keeping myself entertained whilst I listen to the dulcet tones of your D&D explanations.
So just to be clear, they actually didn't fix Ranger at all.
Nope. Literally,
Another
is all all the classes
And
got
that's
variants?
why this got a C.
You know how it got a variant?
No, got a D for dwarf.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play Ranger, might as well just play a Dwarf Ranger.
Ranger with a battle axe.
Actually, Dwarf Rangers were actually a thing before this system. More so now with the system, but
Like they got increased spell lists. They got the new Death Explorer, Favored Foe. They got a new fighting style, Druidic Warrior. They actually now get a spell focus. They clarified that you can use a Druid spell focus for Ranger spells.
so they did things to make the class better, but they really didn't fix it. Really? What's enjoyable about getting Bland Stride at level 8?
We've talked about this for an hour now.
Yeah, no, I know.
And we have made zero progress.
This is the podcast,
progress.
basically arguing about the book.
It's the D&D cast.
That's fine.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, Ranger, it's revision
going.
in quotes.
I
What
tried.
was, it's part of the book that just came out. So we're on topic.
We are on topic, it's true. It's just that the topic has lasted for like an hour.
Speaking of topics, our
One
next topic is the Capcom ransomware leaks.
And I'm not normally the one to push us off a topic, but damn, we've been talking about D&D.
Well, this is the next long section, and then everything else is really
The
quick.
Capcom leaks, which are very interesting.
Yes. So to fill you guys in, Capcom was hacked. They stole, what was it, like a terabit of data?
It's a lot.
Some severe amount of data. And to prove that the leaks are valid, and or also to get their delicious Bitcoin, they released...
Which, by the way, hold on, that's an important snippet of information. They said, if you don't give us $11 million worth of Bitcoin, we're gonna leak this information.
So just to validate that they actually have this information,
they're all Tarkov players.
They leaked. They leaked a bit of it. It's starting. They leaked a little bit of it.
Body armor.
I'm ordering it right now. And
not as good as it is in Tarkov.
There's some interesting stuff. There's not interesting stuff, but probably the biggest things to me is Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PC. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all. If we want to linger on that for a moment, did you anticipate that shit remotely?
No. I hoped for it, but just the way it looked, I thought for sure that it was like that was going to be the Switch Monster Hunter, and that would be it.
Rise is clearly, like, just from looking at it, I was like, you can tell it's not as nice looking as like World, and I was like, this is clearly going to be a return to like the Nintendo exclusive Monster Hunters that we just never see, and then maybe we'll get like another one down the line that's multiplat. That bit of info that it's coming to PC at some point was kind of insane to me. I didn't see that coming.
And
remotely.
Also, new.
Do you think it'll look nicer in its PC SKU? Do you think they'll do anything to it graphically? Do you think it only looks like that because it's on the Switch? Not that it looks bad, but like you can clearly see that it doesn't look like World.
Well, it's
anything.
not. It can't be that crazy of an upgrade. It'll probably have higher res textures and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be anything beyond that. It'll just look a little bit nicer. Probably a way more stable frame rate, more than anything.
Well, yeah, that too.
And then also the hints of Monster Hunter Slugger, which is whatever the next thing. What was that?
I didn't read about that.
It's just a code name, so we don't actually know what it is, but people are thinking it's another world expansion or a new Monster Hunter game entirely.
I hope it's another world expansion, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I would prefer
World
that.
has a lot of life left in it, I think. They could
World is like,
games as a service it for a while.
Yeah, World is so good that I would prefer they just keep building on it rather than like selling me a whole new game.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me, I don't know.
It depends on the price of the new game and what is actually changed, you know? What other interesting things? Devil May Cry 2 source code is just out there.
Yeah, that was weird that was part of the leak, though. I don't know who gives a shit about DMC2 source code.
Well, now they could make it good, Brandon.
Yeah. Whatever.
And what other
They
things?
dug into the source code and they made guns do less damage.
That's basically what they can do.
They fixed it. Incredible.
Wow.
What was the other big ones? We got a quote unquote from the leaks. The Resident Evil 8 release date is supposedly in April. It's kind of a big deal.
And it has an online mode.
Yes.
It's being described as a battle royale.
Yup. Oh, what the fuck? What is that gonna be?
I have no. The only thing I could hope for, because this is the best version of that.
I'm actually excited about that. By the way.
It's mercenaries, but you could shoot the other mercenaries.
Yeah.
That's the only good version of that game.
Oh god. That could. Okay, listen. In theory, it's very memey to be like, wow, Resident Evil Battle Royale, it's gonna suck my ass. But it could be cool. Think about playing a game like RE7 or RE8 from that first person perspective and going through like a large map and like.
Oh, that's right. It's gonna be first person.
Yeah, and you're going through the map and you're just finding like the loot, like you know, the typical whatever weapons will be in RE8 that will probably just be repurposed for whatever this BR mode is, and like you're going through these like spooky environments and you run into players randomly and you have to fight them. Like it could be kind of neat. I'm optimistic about it. It could be interesting.
I think
Or
PUBG zombie horde mode.
Yeah.
I think of like Hunt Showdown or some
Yeah,
shit
that's true too.
like a dark, moody like battle royale, going through similar environments to that. Hell, maybe they would even have like monsters from the single player on the map potentially. That could be cool. I'm cautiously optimistic.
I can't see them not having monsters on the map. If there's no PvE element to this, it's like, why even call it Resident Evil? Why even put it in a Resident Evil game? It makes no fucking sense.
Worst case, it's just
dead in a week.
A mode that you ignore, like that one for Resident Evil 3 remake. That I don't even know if anyone's still playing that.
Probably. Somebody's playing, like, whatever it is, someone's still playing it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like how big the community for that shit. I know I never touched it.
Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, this was arguably one of the biggest ones. Is that like we kind of have hard confirmation now that Street Fighter 6 is in fact being made in some dusty basement by people who are being whipped and forced to work on fighting games in some dark, dank corner of Capcom HQ. Apparently it's happening. And apparently it's not PlayStation exclusive this time around, which makes sense. Like that probably shouldn't be a shocker to anybody who knows the history of why Street Fighter V was PlayStation exclusive in the first place. Because Street Fighter V came out in that really weird time frame where Capcom was almost dead. And the only reason SF5 got made in the first place was because of Sony money. And Capcom's not really in that predicament anymore because they've been making good games that people have been buying. So it shouldn't be a shocker to anybody that game is multiplat this time around, but apparently people are reporting on it like it's some kind of big fucking deal.
What was other weird things that I read about it? I can't remember. They've been getting doled in and out.
I remember, I don't know if this was I think it was part of the leaks, maybe, that like SF6 has kind of been through the ringer a bit because there was apparently a mode that was. So I don't know how people know this. I'm assuming it's part of the leaks in some way, shape, or form, but it had a focus on a team-based mechanic, and they scrapped it. Apparently, it wasn't working out. And so they essentially restarted development, which is the entire reason why we're getting a new season of SF5 at all, is because they need more time for SF6.
We need more fun bucks.
So that's interesting, but it is hard confirmation of a Street Fighter 6.
And
Wow.
yeah, so neat things coming out of the Capcom leak.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is how we had to learn about all of it, though.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to get like actual trailers from Capcom or something like that, you know, instead of a bunch of people demanding Bitcoin and then going, "Hey, here's all this shit that they're working on."
Oh, there was one more image release that was kind of spoilery for Resident Evil Village, and I wanted to get your guys' verbal yay or nay before I posted it in the chat.
Well, how spoilery?
Because
I'm gonna play the game, so if it's really spoilery, I'd rather not see it.
So here's the thing: it's a preview thing, so it's not that spoilery because they're going to use it to advertise the game, and it's one of those things. It could mean nothing. It could just be implying, but what it's implying is a big fucking deal. Is the thing.
Listen, I'll be honest. I have probably like no desire to play it. Send it to me.
Okay.
You can send it to me.
If you're telling me it was something that they were going to show anyway.
Oh, that could be big.
I must see it.
All right, so wait for Robbie's reaction, and then after that, we'll revisit you.
Oh.
So
are you sure that something is being used for promotion? Because judging from these reactions, I don't know if I.
Yes. It is very clearly poster-esque.
All right.
Huh.
All right, here it comes.
Huh.
Right? Could be nothing. Could be.
I mean, if they're gonna use it for promotion, then I guess I'll look at it.
Interesting.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, right?
I think it's silly.
That Chris has the Giga Cooties that's turning people into weird werewolf monsters, and maybe that's why he murders Ethan in the first 10 minutes of the game. Has Chris been corrupted by bioterrorism?
Technically, he works for Umbrella now.
Yeah, but it's like good Umbrella, isn't it?
That's the big reveal. Good Umbrella was bad
Actually,
Umbrella.
You fools!
This is even my final form. I'm turning into Green Umbrella.
Or there
has
was
Umbrella in the
Green
name.
Umbrella. Yeah, there's just like one or two people that were in Umbrella Blue that were like, yeah, we're still the evil assholes, and they start sticking people with syringes, and one thing leads to another. Maybe, who knows?
Wait, so this new umbrella is called Blue. What's the new umbrella called?
Umbrella
Is it
Blue.
Blue Umbrella? Umbrella Blue. And old Umbrella had red in its logo,
Yeah.
which means realistically we should get a green one so we can combine all three, much like herbs,
Well,
to make
no,
the biggest
realistically,
healing umbrella item.
Yeah. Or alternatively, red and blue mixed to make Umbrella Purple.
Yeah.
The most neutral of all umbrellas.
Or you get to the end of the game and you get a 3-color choice option.
Do you destroy the umbrella? Do you synthesize with the umbrella?
Have we been faked out this entire time? Are we actually not playing as Ethan, but instead we're playing as Chris, and you'll be able to devil trigger into a werewolf?
No, stop.
That'd be
and
really fucking
fight.
stupid cool. I just want a first-person shoot Ethan's wife. It's the real takeaway from that.
That'll be the DLC. You'll get to play as Chris, but it's only the first 15 minutes of the game. It's a simulator of breaking into Ethan's house.
Just DT on Ethan's wife.
I mean, it could be a giant fake out, and like you can like in the beginning of the game be Ethan, and then Chris like they can show you that maybe Ethan's doing fucked up shit, and then Chris caps him or caps his wife.
I'm assuming I've been of the belief that trailer is a big fucking like red herring. Like Chris isn't doing what he's doing for bad reasons.
Even who you play in the game?
Yeah, supposedly it's Ethan.
Oh, so they have confirmed you play Ethan.
Yeah.
I liked Ethan.
And we have like trailers and confirmation that Ethan is more vocal in this game. Like they're actually fleshing him out as a character as opposed to what he was in 7, where he was basically just like self-insert character that didn't really say a lot. But I don't know. I think we got Chris DLC in RE7. Maybe we get Chris DLC in RE8. Where but is Chris gonna be a boss fight in RE8? Do we kill Chris in RE8 as he morphs into a werewolf?
Is this the
and he
end
pulls
of the
his
Red
Yiff
Field
trigger?
line?
No.
Bang bang bang! Pull his Yiffy trigger.
That's I really don't want to think that's what's gonna happen. I'm not a big Resident Evil fan, but I do like Chris. And I think that would be pretty shitty.
Boulders and he doesn't give a fuck.
Chris Boulder punch Redfield. So, but shocker, the reason he got so jacked
was the werewolf blood in his veins.
Yeah, he was on some rough shit.
Hasn't there always been a theory that Chris is infected, but it's like dormant or some shit?
I've never heard that theory.
I mean, it's this weird airborne virus. Technically, like everyone should be infected. They just aren't.
I mean, that's one of the weird things about Resident Evil, right? Is that in every game, you have to assume that canonically, every time you, as the player, get bit or like successfully hit by an enemy, that didn't happen.
Yeah, the only canon run has to be a no damage run.
Yeah.
And even then, there's like people get infected, not just through bites. Like, there's just people that just get fucking infected.
Except for like Resident Evil 4 and 5.
Well, yeah,
You
that's a
can-
different thing.
We can assume that like Leon and Chris take damage in those games because it doesn't matter. But in other games, it matters.
But then there's a bunch of shit that like they only kind of think about in Resident Evil where they probably should think about a lot. Like in the last movie, I know I love bringing up the CG movies and how they make no sense. No, this is very important. So there's a zombie outbreak in the city, but it's okay because they find a cure, and I can't remember, they like aerosol it or something, so it just like no, seriously, like it rains from the sky and people unzombify, which doesn't make any sense. Like
they chemtrail it?
Yeah, they chemtrail it. But you gotta think, like, zombie, you're dead and rotting. And they've undone that. Let alone, imagine the poor guy who gets unzombified after eating his children, you know? Like, that definitely happened.
There's a reason
eating his children.
There's a reason why the U.S. government didn't put much more thought into fixing the Raccoon City incident beyond just nuking it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Because it's like
because cures didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Chris, maybe that means nothing. Maybe it's just a promotional shot with like cool artwork to be like, look, you'll be fighting the werewolf monsters.
Right, because it's implied that
nothing to do with
it's implied that Chris is evil, and we know that there are evil werewolves. So it's like, look, the poster of implied evil.
Maybe Chris is the good werewolf. There you go.
Yeah, he's Van Helsing it up.
I can't believe I mean, again, not a big Resident Evil person, but I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about werewolves in Resident Evil.
Isn't that weird?
I don't think anyone saw that shit coming.
Fucking werewolves and vampires, dude.
Yeah,
we haven't even touched
too.
on the vampire shit at all.
I saw an article that said, I was thinking about this the other day. I saw an article where the headline said, oh, these Capcom leaks confirm RE4 remake, but then I didn't read anything about that.
Oh yeah, I actually
so
have
I don't know
read
if
about
that was
that.
just wrong.
It's VR.
Right. So it's just an RE4 VR.
Yes.
It's not an RE4 remake. Right?
Well, I don't know how much they're gonna change just by changing it into VR. But yeah, I haven't heard them as separate things. I haven't heard we're remaking it and we're making a VR version. I've heard that it is VR.
I was thinking about this the other day, just quickly. Do you remember back earlier when we had kind of just first started recording and we spoke about that very reputable leaker who came out and said that they were making RE4 remake? And he's a guy that had like successfully leaked other Capcom based things previously. I don't remember what he leaked. I think it was RE7 materials that he leaked, which turned out to be true. So he had a history of being successful. And he came out and he's talked about, oh yeah, they're making RE4 remake, and we spoke about it on the podcast. Do you think that guy just saw stills and shit from RE8 out of context and saw the village and just said, oh, I'll report on this as like RE4 remake? Do you think he just thought they were making RE4 remake? Like, I was thinking about that because we've heard nothing about it, and now we only know about RE4 VR, and I don't think that guy said anything else about RE4 remake. So I was thinking, like, maybe he just saw some like screenshots of the village in progress and just assumed that it was RE4, because it does look kind of like it could be RE4 related.
Villagey.
Yeah. It's interesting. I really hope they're not making RE4 remake.
Maybe you think Spaniards are really hairy or something.
Dear God, do I hope they're not actually making Resident Evil 4 remake. I hope that's not true. I don't need it. RE4 is good as it is. It's not even that old.
What if they remake it in reverse, where it's tank controls and fixed cameras, but it's Resident Evil 4? They just fucking flip the script.
Yeah, something tells me they won't do that.
No, yeah, for sure. Investors would hear that and be like, what? You're fired.
Project canceled.
You're
All
canceled.
funding cut.
Yeah. So let's keep
God, I
on.
hope they're not making Resident Evil 4 remake. Anyway.
Let's keep on moseying. I kind of like even VR makes you go like, Be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the point of it, but
be fun to shoot the spindles and crows in VR, I guess. But I mean, that's about it. Getting chainsawed will be an intense experience in VR.
yeah, I mean, to think of it like that, RE4 kind of has that Dead Space thing, which obviously Dead Space came after the fact, but like they both, some of the scariest moments of playing those games are very like organic. They just come from the fights where it's like, oh, the chainsaw dude is chasing me, and like I know he's on my ass, and like I can hear his chainsaw, and I know he's like this far away from me, and I have to spin around and deal with that problem really fast with my quick turn and shit like that. And now imagine doing that in like VR. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It could be cool, I guess. I'm not going to experience it because
VR.
I ain't got a VR headset. I have a rig that could do it now, but I don't want a VR headset.
The next bit of news is Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition is not coming to PC, so people just modded it in.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I don't know. I could only find like one article on it, which is the one that I posted. I don't know to what extent this is like a 1-for-1 rip of Special Edition. I don't know if it is. I don't know if enemy placements in Legendary Dark Knight mode are like exactly the same as they are in SE. I have no fucking clue. But it is hilarious that a bunch of people who are butthurt about that, much like me, just said, fuck it. We'll do it live. I also don't know if Virgil's like a 1-for-1 rip from the console version of SE. I'd have to look at that.
Oh,
as well.
Even if he's not,
But,
I mean, if you just buy the Virgil DLC, I mean, you get him.
Yeah, that's true. It's a fair point. I don't think that's out yet though on Steam. So, and I don't know when that is coming out, but still hilarious. Capcom, please put Special Edition on PC. Thank you.
Yeah, for real.
Just fucking do it.
I hope that's in the rest of the leaks.
I hate all of you just like I hate the people who listen to this podcast.
The Witcher Season 2 is uncancelled.
Nice.
Yay.
They have begun filming.
So they probably just, if that guy wasn't that important, they probably just were like, yeah, you're fired. All right, now we can record. That's all I could think of. Because you don't go from like someone has COVID, we've suspended indefinitely, to literally a week later being like back on, like unless that guy got over like the Trump did, or he got fired.
Why not both?
That too.
I don't know.
They haven't said anything about it in the article that I posted about what they're doing in response to the like cast members who tested positive, but apparently they resumed filming, so they figured it out. Whatever they did it.
I wonder if they're gonna have to like film with masks on, and then they're gonna give like the Justice League CGI mouth to everyone.
I knew, when you started that, I knew where you were going with it.
You know what? It's kind of true.
Finished.
Why couldn't you wear a mask that is like a neon green with those little mocap dots on it?
It's so funny. That would be so like that would look so fucked up. Everyone's bottom half of their face.
You could see their teeth really clearly. Like they don't shadow it correctly, so everyone's teeth is like very obvious.
Oh god. One thing I thought was kind of interesting, this is kind of unrelated to the fact that they just resumed filming, but there was like a weird little snippet of extra information in the article that I posted, and they said they have confirmation that season 2 will be much darker than its predecessor, whatever that means. So that's kind of exciting.
That's cool. I like that in a way, because I mean the Witcher series was really fucked up, and they didn't really do a lot of fucked up shit in the last season.
Yeah, season 1 was kind of tame. I don't think of, like, I read this in this article and then I thought back to season 1 and I was like, yeah, I guess it wasn't that dark. Like, I wouldn't describe season 1 as being terribly dark in comparison to like other forms of fantasy-based media.
But even compared to itself, like compared to the Witcher games or the other books, there's all kinds of fucked up shit that happens in The Witcher that's dark, and they kind of didn't have that in season 1. So,
well, apparently this one will be darker, so maybe some of that will be in season 2.
Hell yeah.
next.
Cyberpunk gameplay. Yay.
Look,
It wasn't great.
awesome.
Really? It wasn't great?
No, so here's the thing is first things first, so they're showing the different versions. And it's still technically unreleased. So there were some rendering issues, like there's one point an NPC just doesn't have a head. And
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
And people can be nitpicky little assholes, but for the most part, I think it looked fine. But if you're trying to hype this up as the disappointment of the century, according to those people, this footage was disastrous. It was the final nail in the coffin.
I mean, that's an absurd fucking reaction. If anyone's actually saying that, I thought it looked fine. My opinion on this gameplay is pretty much the same as my opinion on the gameplay has been every time that we've seen it, which is like it looks a little stilted when you're shooting stuff. You know, I can clearly see what's ahead of me, and even though I'm very excited for this game, I'm not anticipating getting hands on with it and being like, wow, this plays like as smoothly as Doom 2016. You know what I mean? Like you can clearly see like the stilted shooting. It's a little rigid, but it looked nice. I'm excited. It wasn't mind blowing. Like we didn't see anything crazy out of that footage, but
I don't know why you guys are even like saying anything about it. It's gonna get delayed again.
Stop. Stop. Yeah, I got to the end of that video, and the girl that they always have there from CD Projekt Red doing the fucking Night City Wires was like, I waited for it at the end, and she was like, it's releasing December 10th. And I was like, they're still saying it. They're still saying it, dude. I believe. No more delays. They're still saying it.
Yeah. It looks interesting. Oh, I did read, semi-related to this, I read a very interesting article where, I guess maybe even to just try to, there's a lot of people hyping this up to kind of just be like cyber GTA, and they're like, no, it's an RPG, you idiots. Very interesting. Unless you spec into it, you won't be able to steal cars, which I think is very, very cool.
Oh, that's neat.
That it's an actual RPG choice. You don't just walk up to car and press button and acquire car.
It makes sense too.
Yeah, because there's cyber cars or whatever. You probably need. I'm gonna imagine it's hacking that you need.
I mean, it makes sense even outside of a cyberpunk like setting. You know what I mean? To have to spec your character to be able to actually like jack a fucking car, it kind of makes sense. Can't go up to every average Joe on the street and be like, "Hey, go break into that car and start it." You know what I mean?
True.
Like, it's neat that they've built that into like an RPG system. Can't customize those cars though.
No, not allowed.
Or run on the
that
walls.
requires even more specking.
Or dual wield.
Once you reach level 10, you could add a fender.
I heard something that was like, I was gonna say worrying, but I don't think that's quite the word I want to use. How do I put this? I was watching Castle Super Beast the other day, like a clip from their podcast, and they were explaining that, and they were very, Wooly and Pat were very vague on what they were saying here, but they said that they had spoken to someone who is in the know regarding Cyberpunk 2077. So if I had to take a guess, maybe they know someone who's related to the dev team in some way, shape, or form. and they said that, or maybe not the dev team specifically, but somebody who has been like hands-on with it and seen behind the scenes or something of the game, and they said that this person's opinion was that the game is going to come out and it's going to be good, but it's not going to be what most people are expecting. Like, it's going to come out and be a solid like 8 out of 10. And I heard them say that, and I was like, I'm happy with that. You know, that's not the worst. It might, some people may be disappointed or might have very lofty expectations of what the game's going to be, but I just
might SWAT the office.
Yep, some people might SWAT them. You know, I don't know how that works in Poland. I don't know. You know, it might be more difficult.
Do they have
a
good SWAT? Do they have a bad SWAT? I'm not sure.
do they shoot really quickly in Poland? Will this be disastrous when they get swatted? I sure hope not.
What a capstone to a fucking death march of overtime is getting fucking shot.
Getting swatted.
I'm finally free. I can see my family again. Oh!
They crunched me and then the pigs shot me in the face.
These Polish pigs.
Fucking pigs. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of been of the... And the reason why I say that's not disappointing is because I think I've kind of been of that belief for a while now, where it's like, this game's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be like the 10 out of 10 mind-blowing experience that a lot of people are thinking that it's going to be. And hearing them say that they've been in contact with someone who has some sort of background information and experience with the game say something very similar is like kind of hard confirmation to me that that's what this game is going to wind up being. But that's fine. I just need it to be good enough, you know. An 8 out of 10 is fine for me, and I'm very excited.
As with everything, if it justifies the price tag, then it was a good buy.
8 out of 10 is good enough for me, man. The gameplay that I've seen is good enough for me, and I'm excited. Fine. I'm very excited.
And if you're listening to this and you're like, "Oh, it's the second coming of Christ," yo, temper those expectations a bit.
It's probably not going to be the case, but I'm very excited. Wait for Cyberpunk 2077 too, where maybe it is the second coming of Christ.
8 out of 10 is solid in today's world, so
it's more than solid, man.
It really is an insane leap when you think about it. Like when you think about CD Projekt and what they've done. Like think about their back catalog of just like Witcher games and how jank those games were in the beginning. And how quickly they became pretty solid. But I feel like you have to always remember that they made some jank shit.
Yeah, anyone is capable of jank.
Yeah, even Witcher 2, some people describe as being like Euro jank. And that's arguably when they started to get okay at what they were doing. So it's like...
I mean, I love games with huge elements of jank. It's just...
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing, you know?
No, yeah.
Just remember.
But it's one of those things where it's going to be a case-by-case thing. Like, it'll be an okay game, and then jank will either make or break or not influence it at all.
That being said, I'm extremely excited for Cyberpunk, and pretty much every video game I'm playing and everything I'm doing with my life from now until December 10th is just the Cyberpunk waiting room. My life has become the Cyberpunk 2077 lobby. Where I'm just waiting. Hopefully it's not an absolute trash fire. That would be the worst. That's the worst case scenario. That's not even an 8 out of 10. It's like a 5. It's just a buggy mess at launch. The game is actually trash. You can beat it in like 5 hours. It's a lack of content. Gameplay sucks. Could you imagine?
I can imagine.
You're describing what Halo Infinite's gonna be.
Yeah, but Halo Infinite also wasn't developed for like 8 fucking years or something insane like that.
Those revisions, man. When you go back to the beginning, there's a lot that could be lost there. Anyway,
I gotta believe in the 8 out of 10. You know, it's gonna be good. I just gotta believe.
Speaking of,
I can't wait to make a melee build and have it be absolute trash, and then have to divert from that.
Or just do one of those things where it's like, you can play melee in this game, but only if it's also a stealth build.
Yeah, or that.
You get no face tank melee here. Richie, I believe you wanted to go ham on something?
Total War or Creative Assembly put out their teaser, which they do before every cinematic release trailer for their DLCs today. So I'm very excited for that. The teaser, as I described to Brandon, is just Forest AMSR. So not much speculation to go off of that. But as I was telling Brandon, what we could gather from it, and what I was scanning comments and discussion in Steam is all we have is like an arrow and then forest and background noise with a deer running in the background once and then a rat running across the floor, which is clearly Skaven, which we knew anyway.
What if it's I was thinking about this as you sent this to me, and I was downstairs eating and looking at my phone messages on Discord, and I thought to myself, what if tomorrow they put out a cinematic trailer, right? And it's like the Wood Elves walking around doing their thing, and then there's a rat, right? And everyone's like, oh shit, it's gonna be Skaven, dude. It's gonna be Skaven, bro. And then they like do a complete 180, and it turns out the rat runs over to a corpse and starts pecking at it, but it's actually a zombie, and it's like vampire counts instead. What if they just totally fucking flip the script, bro? I know that's not gonna be the case.
Because they've already
said
it's
it
gonna
has
be a game
to be
2 race.
fucking- yeah, I know. Well, fuck them, all right?
It's gonna
I
be a
want more
big
Skaven
big
shit.
fight cinematic, and then they'd be like,
No, see,
"This planet is ours," and then they'll point up, and it's like, "No, it's theirs," and then the Tyranids show up.
I kill everything
I'm very
instantly.
You say like fuck Skaven, but I'm actually very excited for the Skaven part of this DLC as well. Just because it's Clan Mulder, dude. That will complete it. The 4 great clans. They'll have probably some really sick looking shit. They're gonna have some of the little shit, like probably like like giant rats. They're gonna act like hounds and shit. But there's speculation that because Hell Pit Abomination's already in the game, they're gonna get like a what's it called? Like a brood mother or some shit, which is a very horrific looking fucking rat creation.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Throt the Unclean is like a fucking like ogre-sized rat with like 4 arms. Like it's very cool, and I think it's a pipe dream to think we're gonna get Storm Fiends at this game.
Yeah, probably not.
But
I thought
if
about
we
that
even
too,
get them at
but I was
all.
like they're probably not gonna fucking do that.
Or Vermin Lords.
I'm excited.
That's a thankful thing.
I'm excited for the Wood Elf stuff, but mostly,
definitely.
Mostly, to be completely honest with you, assuming that they give us this information tomorrow, I will be eagerly waiting to see if they say anything about reworking their absolute trash fire of a campaign. That's what I'll be waiting to see.
Well,
I want to see them say like,
didn't
yeah,
they
right,
said it
but
already?
they haven't. What?
When we got the chart of the 3 levels, doesn't it say like campaign rework?
But they've given us no details. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
like
like,
how they fix it? Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to know what it is, and I want to know if like Amber still fucking exists, because god damn it, is that shit just not fun?
No, not at all.
It's really the worst. I remember like somewhat recently, like within the last year or so, I booted that game and I was like, I'm gonna play a Wood Elf campaign, Mortal Empires on Legendary, and I loaded it up. I played it for like 5 turns, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, this shit sucks. And then I turned it off.
It's terrible.
I just stopped playing it because it's really bad. So I
yeah.
hope they fix that.
I don't know if we'll have that information tomorrow, but I'm very interested in knowing what the new units for Wood Elves are going to be, because like the Skaven shit we could speculate because we know what's missing.
I can't.
Wood Elves is like Wood Elves. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. Their entire book is represented.
They're gonna do one of 2 things. Either they're gonna just go off script and make up some shit, like they kind of have done already for some races, or like in some cases, most of a race, like with Vampire Coast and shit like that. Or they're gonna reach into the Age of Sigmar book and give us tree men with great swords as like an infantry unit.
Like
that.
as silly as that is, I like Kurnoth Hunters a lot in Age of
No,
Sigmar.
I don't
They
disagree
look
with
cool.
My friend, I don't disagree with you. I think some of those units are actually really cool looking. I wouldn't mind if they did that. I don't think they're gonna do it, but it's an
No,
option.
me neither.
So either they're gonna come up with their own shit or they're gonna do that. They'll probably come up with their own shit. That's Games Workshop sanctioned.
But excited for that because I want to know the things I think we know and we can speculate. Though,
hold on. Can I tell you what else I'm really excited about with this?
What's up?
Can I give you
Yeah.
the one other thing I'm really excited about? With this
Is
DLC?
it what I think it's gonna be? Is it because this is
maybe
gonna be like
hold
the
on,
last-
no, wait, hold on. No, maybe you're right. Maybe you can predict what I'm gonna say. Oh no, were you gonna say that it's because it's the last DLC?
Possibly, yeah.
That's not that. But in addition to what I was gonna say, yes, also that. But what I was gonna say is maybe, and I'd be willing to put money on this, that by the end of the announcement of all the content in this DLC, we'll have some legendary lords for Wood Elves that aren't either a giant tree or Mel Gibson. We'll actually have like an elf legendary lord, and that's the most exciting part because I can't stand the Wood Elf legendary lords. I don't like Orion, and I don't always want to play with fucking Dirthu. So that's cool.
You don't like Orion, really?
No, he's a Mel Gibson satyr looking motherfucker.
I don't
and I
care.
Can't stand him.
I don't know. I like him.
And I think his voice is doofy as shit, but that's just me.
Yeah, so like I said, the stuff we can speculate for Wood Elves, basically, just because there's a few missing things from their army book, and I think the deer running across was like an indicator of that. They're gonna get a great stag mount for like your elf lords and shit, which is awesome. I'm very hyped for that. I don't know if it's gonna be meta or not, but the idea of like your melee glade lord, because everyone takes the range one, but you take the melee one and you could throw him on like a monstrous, so you can have the HP and an armor piercing mount with Helm of Discord and shit, like for multiplayer. To have him going around with like Wild Riders is awesome. That's an awesome concept.
Yeah, I was gonna say the concept of meta though only really matters if we're talking about multiplayer, which not everyone gives a shit about.
But even campaign, like I've always liked the great stag mount. I think it's cool, especially if it's armor piercing. That would be a big buff for melee glade lords. That's really the only thing. I mean, maybe a shadow dancer or some shit, but who knows? But the big thing, the legendary lord, I can't even guess the venture. There's a single arrow in a log. That gives me nothing, unfortunately. If there was like, dude, if there would have been like 2 arrows, it would have been all but confirmed Sisters of Twilight would have been the legendary lord. Dude, if they do Sisters of Twilight, I'm gonna fucking cry out of like excitement. Because that's awesome. I want to know the mechanics behind them. Like 2 legendary lords acting as like one or some shit. Or 2 separate. I don't know how they're gonna do it. If they do that, but that would be awesome. The
But
single
that may
arrow
not be
also,
what it
it
is.
may not be them. The single arrow, I was saying that the arrow might almost definitely sort of imply that there's going to be an elf legendary lord, and the only other elf legendary lord that would use a bow is Araloth, and I really hope it's not Araloth because he is so fucking boring and generic. I don't even think he gets like mount options. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Like he's just a fucking dickhead with a spear and a bow.
Well,
like,
prepare for disappointment.
Like that is going to be so fucking boring. But like sisters would be incredible. It would be because they have mount options that they ride together. Like I just want to know how they do it. And then seeing as we're implying that the legendary lord for this DLC is going to be an elf, and we know the not the free LC lord, but the free lord you get if you have both expansion packs is a female character. If it's not Sisters, then it could be Sisters, Ariel, or Drycha. If it is Sisters, then it's either Ariel or Drycha.
I would I mean like
or Neith the prophetess, but I don't know if they would add her. But
not to go on about this forever, but like as much as I want just elf legendary lords because I already just complained about Dirthu and Orion and shit, Drycha would be cool. I wouldn't be that mad about that. if she was interesting and like had cool mechanics and maybe animated in an interesting way and had a clearly interesting and unique model, I think Drycha could be sick. Probably won't be her though.
I personally really hope it's Ariel, because I like the idea of big butterfly chick that uses magic. But who knows? This shit has been talked about by all kinds of YouTubers on like why she shouldn't be the Lord, and they should like croak her. You know, like you know how like Lord Croak is like a hero that everyone gets. Like they should do that to her. But
was I honestly can't remember. Was Drycha a caster?
Yeah.
Did she cast?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I would like it to be her. It probably won't be, but
I would
think it
like.
be sick.
I would like if they gave Wood Elves like their lore, like the lore of Athel-Loren. I think that would be sick. I think they need it because I think one of the spells like has to be like create an area that counts as forests. Like there needs to be a way that Wood Elves can get their forest buffs without actually being in a forest.
Yeah, that would be neat if they did that. But hey, throw in both things. Give them the lore, and put in Drycha. That would be sick.
I would be surprised. I don't know. Like, assume Ariel doesn't get added. Maybe she gets croaked. Maybe she doesn't. If they put an Elf Lord in, I don't see why they wouldn't put another Tree Lord. Which, why wouldn't they do Drycha? Drycha's popular. Everyone likes her. Everyone wants her.
I could see them not, though, because I'm sure other people have the same complaint as me, which is that they have, like, no fucking true elf legendary lords. They just have the freak that is Orion and then Durthu.
Well,
so, like,
that's why they would put one in, though. They'd put one elf in with the DLC,
well,
and then Drycha would be the free DLC one.
The point that I was making, though, is, like, maybe they would want to go hard on just elf lords, though, and just put in 2. Just to fill it out with elves more, as opposed to being like, here's one elf and another tree. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I guess we'll find out over the next few days, because usually these things come out in what, like 2 weeks? They're out from the trailer or some shit. 3
Is
weeks.
that the case? I thought it was more like a month from trailer to DLC.
I don't know. It's really not that long of a time from trailer to DLC.
They're gonna put out the fucking trailer tomorrow, maybe with some information. Maybe the Steam store page goes up tomorrow. That's usually how they do it, isn't it? And then the fucking DLC will come out like mid-December, like right before Christmas. You'll get this fucking DLC.
It be that late?
Yeah, probably. I mean, a month from now, it'd be like a week before Christmas, assuming that it's a month from tomorrow, which I could be wrong. But I think it's usually like that much time from trailer to DLC.
I'm excited. I'll probably be talking about this next week. It's a shame that we're doing this cast today, so I can't talk about it. But
well, we record on Wednesdays, people. So that's how it shakes out. Sometimes.
Just because I looked it up, I believe the trailer for the Warden and the Paunch came out May 7th, and it was released on May 21st.
Really? I could have swore there's been... I feel like other DLCs have taken more time than that. Like, I recall Vampire Coast taking a while from, like...
Yeah, but they had an extra month to work on this, though.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Funniest bit of news.
Say it. Say it, you fuck. Say it.
Apple just brutally dunked on Epic with
this shit's fucking hilarious.
Probably the greatest move I've ever heard in my life. So we're talking about that good old chestnut of the whole Fortnite on iOS and so on, and the moral high ground was argued by Epic entirely around, hey, we want this special treatment because it's really for the little guy.
Yeah, you know that thing that Epic tried to say about how Apple's fucking people and the 30% cut is insane. We'll change that. But not for you, you fuck.
Yeah, Apple literally just released it, so the store cut is only 15% now, unless you make, I think it's more than $1 million annually, so $1 million a year. In which case, yeah, it's a 30% cut. And surprise, surprise, guess what category Epic falls under?
Like, once again, just to fucking reiterate, I don't have a side in this or a stake in this, because no one should have a side or a fucking stake in this necessarily. But like, holy fuck, what a dunk to just use their argument against them. Their already very shitty argument for why they tried to backdoor the fucking Apple Store. Fucking amazing. What a maneuver.
We really swept the leg.
What a fucking maneuver, dude.
No mercy.
It's incredible.
It fills me with joy. I don't have a horse in this race. As a matter of fact, I will say that I've used and enjoyed far more Epic things than ever Apple. I kind of hate Apple. If you use an Apple product, I kind of hate you. Just a bit.
You hate me?
Just a bit.
Dude, I have an iPhone.
No,
just a bit. Just a bit.
I too have an iPhone. What's with this fucking?
Fuck iPhones.
Yeah. Basically, that's literally it.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
You're something against superior tech?
Go spend your money on body armor or whatever. I'll enjoy my iPhone.
You know what? Touche. But you gotta appreciate a good smackdown, a good jugular hit. Like there's an artistry to just a brutal riposte, and that's what this is. Because like their argument really had no water to begin with. It was kind of stupid.
Well, it was completely, like, just to make it clear, like Epic's entire argument of, like the third, like, hey, we attempted to bypass the store with our transactions through our app so that we don't have to have 30% of our take, cut out by Apple. So when we got caught, we'll just say that we'll divert a little bit and be like, oh, well, the 30% take is fucking unfair and it fucks companies and it really hurts the little guy. And then Apple beautifully uses that against them in like the most incredible fucking coup de grace that I think there's ever been, to just be like, yeah, you know what? You guys are right, but we're not going to have this apply to you. So, you can pretend like your argument holds some water and applies to you in some way, shape, or form. It really doesn't. We see what you're doing. We'll reduce it for the little guy, but fuck you.
Which, let's be
We're
clear,
still taking 30% of your money.
This isn't like a generous move by Apple. This is like,
no, fuck no.
This may impact like 5% of their earnings. Like, this is a minimal change when it comes to their bottom line, but it's a great minimum change to just really fuck with Epic. Just like really do them dirty.
It's so funny because like, not to sound like a broken record, but like anyone with 2 brain cells could see that the Epic's argument literally was nonsense. Like, they didn't care. They didn't care about like bettering the Apple storefront and that cut percentage for other companies. They didn't give a shit, because if they did, the way they went about it was nonsensical. It was very obvious what they were trying to do. They were just trying to bypass Apple's system so that they didn't lose their 30%. This wasn't for anyone other than themselves. And then they got caught and they just had to have a defense, The
I'm not a scumbag defense.
Yeah, which was clearly fabricated and nonsensical.
Yeah, the easiest deflection for that is just like make it about the little guy. We've seen this with everything and have seen it and will continue to see it, where it's like, yeah, this thing will make me a shit ton of money, but really I'm doing it for you. That's gonna keep happening. But Man, what an excellent counter.
Such an incredible way to just like throw their defense in their face in just the most aggressive way possible.
Like,
To
seriously.
literally be like, yeah, we can afford to lose some money because this will affect us pretty minimally if we do this. But goddamn, is it the biggest middle finger we can send this fucking dog shit company that we hate? And I mean, fuck Apple as well, you know. But like, man, as far as fucking corporate wars go, amazing. What an amazing maneuver.
And that's it. That's the news.
Bye-bye.
We did it. I hate all of you.
This was
Fuck
supposed to be
off.
the shortcast. Bye-bye.
Go watch Bly Manor, you fucks, including the other two people on this podcast that I know won't do it.
Watch Bly
Yep.
Manor, buy body armor. That's the Camels.
Y'all are missing out. It's really good.